Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is November 12th, and we're doing business and security stories for your hump day.
And some bad news. This is actually maybe worse news than you could even see from the headline, because this is not the browser business. This is the let's do good for the world business.
Yeah, this was sad.
Mozilla Foundation lays off 30% of its staff, and they have dropped their advocacy division.
What does that mean for the state of Firefox?
Nothing good.
I mean, the software people are still there, so I guess it'll still be getting development. But
Firefox is going to refocus on innovation.
And I think this was from Fortune. It's Yahoo Finance reprinting it as a paywall alternative. But I think this is propaganda. Did you get that impression?
Yeah.
This is, we have to stop being afraid of AI. If you're afraid of AI, you're an idiot.
Digitally illiterate. If you're afraid of AI, you're digitally illiterate.
And if you're not for firing everybody and replacing with AI, you're a bad CEO.
Yeah.
That's what I saw from this.
More than 60% of CEOs are quote-unquote digitally illiterate, according to their own employees. This is literally here for you to just keep your, wait a minute, what I'm reading is not real, teeth sharp.
So now the CEOs are going to be like, oh my God, I am an idiot. I better do what Fortune.com says.
I mean, I do kind of believe that CEOs are digitally illiterate,
for sure.
but also...
But they're saying that they're...
Yeah, they were talking about AI specifically.
For the wrong reason. It's like, oh no, if you're not for replacing all the humans with robots, you're an idiot. And
This article's sponsored by OpenAI.
the quotes from a lot of people who are like, I'm doing these mundane tasks when AI could be doing it. Could free me up from other things. Which is the line that we always get from the AI people.
For more manual labor. Let the machines create the art so I can do more manual labor.
If I say that it was a tough week last week for Team Blue, you might be thinking I was talking about one thing. But not just that Team Blue. The other Team Blue also having a terrible string of failures.
For the first time ever, AMD outsells Intel in the data center space. And this is even as Intel is making their own multi-tile Xeon chips that are the best Xeons that they've made in 10 years. That are actually competitive with 4th gen AMD EPYC. AMD EPYC 5th gen just hit the market, but yeah, it's about a 50-50 ratio for new sales right now.
But the rate of change.
Yes.
That's the headline here.
Here's the other thing that's very bad is a lot of companies have a lot of very old hardware they've been putting off upgrading because they don't know if they should buy a new, like what kind of new server to buy. Because all the CIOs everywhere know that the things that they are changing. See also the AI story. So people don't want to invest in a 5-year solution that's going to be obsolete in a year or two. So there's lots of hardware that is long overdue for replacement. And if you have to choose right now today, it's not good for Intel. It's good for AMD.
But that is, that's in the data center. Those are $15,000 CPUs, not the rank and file, not the people. Surely the people still love Team Blue, right? They still have that to fall back on.
Tom's Hardware's headline is AMD's desktop PC market share skyrockets amid Intel Raptor Lake CPU crashing scandal, and AMD makes its biggest leap in recent history. Somehow they also couldn't cram in the headline that the Core Ultra 200 series was not well received among gamers, enthusiasts, or really even rank and file people.
It's not looking good for that too big to fail situation, because they are failing. And they're failing so hard that they have to be taken to court.
Intel sued over Raptor Lake voltage instability, which is the thing I reported on. Yeah, so it's like this says that Intel knew about late 2022 or early 2023. There's a lot of interesting documents that'll come out in Discovery that'll probably support that.
So that was after the fixes. This dude bought his processor late in 23, I guess. And, January 23. But they had already looked into it internally. They'd already claimed that they figured out what went wrong and fixed it. That was not true. And so he was saying, you didn't tell me any of that. You knew it, and you could have informed the customer, but you did not.
You get 2 extra warranty, though, or 2 extra years of warranty. So his defective CPU he can replace under warranty again.
With a company you don't really trust anymore.
Raptor Lake, if it's not like dying, it's probably fine. And some of the Raptor, like even despite all the terrible things that were happening. It doesn't seem like every chip is affected, so that's interesting.
This makes it worse.
Or
It's harder
it's
to
just a random
reproduce.
lottery,
Yeah,
you mean?
Yeah.
don't know.
It's like, there's a chance that the Pinto will explode, or it'll be fine.
And maybe the final embarrassment for Intel, the one that really stings.
Nvidia has joined the Dow Jones Industrial Average, replacing Intel. Also, Sherwin-Williams, apparently paint sales is really good, although that might be due to inmate labor.
Oh. I was like, people are redoing their houses, and it was like, no.
Or major hurricanes.
Yeah, yeah. It's a recycling waste after a hurricane and flood damage is also at a record-setting levels.
Invest now.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, everybody has to make their own AI chips at this point, right? Because if you don't make your own AI chip, you are at the mercy of Nvidia, and Nvidia is going to control the world. Apple doesn't like that future, so they're desperate.
Apple's allegedly approached Foxconn and Lenovo to build AI servers based on Apple silicon. They should have started with Quanta. Quanta would have been a good choice.
Well, there's a lot of dance partners that are already partnered up.
I saw that Supermicro, our follow-up from last week, Nvidia reduced the number of pending orders to Supermicro because of their accounting stuff, and they've increased orders to the other companies, which gives me a bit more pause. Because if Nvidia is like, oh, you need to do better, it's like, oh, there might be something to that.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that would be quick to fix, right? You just go back and you're like, oh, yeah, we screwed all this up. Here's the corrected stuff. So there must be something really.
Yeah,
there's a gap somewhere.
Like Supermicro, it's an American company, but the whole China thing. And so I get it's like, oh, we have two sets of books. This one makes the Americans happy, and this one makes the Chinese happy. I understand how that could be misunderstood, but then you peel back the linoleum, and it's like, oh, there might be more. I don't know.
Now, when it comes to the data centers covering every empty spot of open land in America, Amazon has been stopped by a government agency. But it's something far more hilarious when it comes to Meta.
Endangered bees stopped Meta's plan for nuclear-powered AI data center.
Maybe the bees saved us.
Can we get some of those? Maybe we can have some on the roof or something.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be ironic if everybody got some of these bees and put them in their area, and then we repopulated them and they're no longer endangered?
Oh. We have to keep finding more and more rare bugs and bring them in.
I don't know. I got a few leads that suggested incumbent power companies are also freaking out about nuclear spinning up because some of the incumbent power companies have figured out all their financials and stuff based on a rising cost of electricity. And if all of these new power plants come on, electricity cost is still going to go up, just not as fast, but that screws a lot of incumbents. So they're spending a lot of money right now to put, uncertainty in, let's just spin up more nuclear power.
All of a sudden, the power companies are on the side of the bees. Strange bedfellows, huh? Well, Mark Zuckerberg, he was not able to defeat the bees, but he did prove one thing. Nobody wants AR glasses or VR headsets, and the metaverse is not going to be a thing. Clearly, Apple has not gotten that memo.
Apple explores push into smart glasses with Atlas user study. So this is a weird story because the context of this is that the glass headset thing is not selling, and they're also delaying their less expensive version of that. And so this is really a last-ditch effort to say, we want this to be a magical AR experience. How do we get there?
It's heavy as shit.
Well, the other ones are, the cheaper ones are supposed to, but they even shelved that apparently.
Didn't sell well enough.
So they're actually, because they are terrified of their secrets being leaked, if you're an Apple employee, you have to go to these events and give your thoughts and be a focus group.
Building software in an echo chamber? What could possibly go wrong?
Well, what could possibly go wrong if we put absolute morons in charge of the things we need for basic life? The answer comes from Rivian, and I cannot fathom how this man is this stupid.
Rivian's chief software officer says in-car buttons are an anomaly. I disagree.
What will we do without buttons? Well, in his vision of the future, you only talk to the car.
Oh, you not even just pawing at a screen. You just talk to it.
So if you happen to be somebody who can't talk,
Screw those people.
Perhaps you get your jaw broken. Maybe you like to have your music up in the car.
Or maybe you just have a thick accent.
Maybe you don't speak English. Although I guess AI will probably nullify that one pretty soon, right?
What's amazing is eventually he's probably not wrong, but only when you just get in your sleep pod and you don't, like, you have no choice. It's not that you're talking to your car. It's that
I enjoy choice.
yeah, most people do, as it turns out.
We purposely bought a car that was buttons.
Well, remember they went away from touchscreen because it was proven to be dangerous and
Yeah.
everyone hated it.
Yeah.
And this guy wants to take it even further. Also, what if there's a kid in the car and the kid just keeps shouting out commands to mess with you? Turning the headlights off at night, you know?
Emergency brake!
They see McDonald's and they're like, ugh.
Turn the car around.
And Detroit is, they're trying to solve the whole range anxiety, there's nowhere to charge your car type of thing. And they have an interesting way of doing that.
Connected EV chargers, AT&T and Volts.
No, look at this. Look at Inside EV. Look how terrible their site design is. The top will go away, but then if you try to get the whole title,
It covers it.
you can't see it.
Oh.
What a failure.
Why would you put other recent stories as a sticky menu at the
Because
top?
we need clicks.
They want curbside EV chargers, so basically you can park your car and leave it.
But the way they do that is to convert the lampposts. So you already have the infrastructure. But
It turns out the lamppost can't deliver that much power.
yeah, it's the same as plugging it into your house without the special, higher voltage thing. So it'll be like very slow charging. But if you're just parked on the street,
There was a subdivision around here that extended from the street lights, and that was predicated on upgrading all of the lights to LED because that was the only way that the power capacity would be supported. So they switched from sodium, whatever, to LED, but they had to switch the road to LED in order to have the power capacity to run the lights for the subdivision, which they did. But I was thinking about that as I was reading this, and I was like, this is not going to work.
so it's kind of cheap. What they do is they just put one of these things on top of the light pole. Now, these little nubs right here are retractable cables, which seems like a really good idea, except you're in Detroit. Are those made of copper?
Oops. I also like all of the detritus and the spray paint in the background.
Oh, that's our strength, man. That's murals.
It's not as good as ROM. That's an inside joke
What do you
for
think
our
What
area.
do you think Rom's up to these days?
I don't know. I've not seen his
Meth.
tag anywhere.
County jail.
Yeah.
And remember when Netflix decided they were going to go into gaming? Remember those games that they released? No, you don't, because they never did.
Netflix is removing all of its interactive titles as well. So these were choose your own adventure movies, and there was an episode of what was it, Dark Mirror or
I think
Black
it was
Mirror?
Black Mirror, yeah.
And,
Bandersnatch.
well, that was the title of the episode, and so you could interact with the TV show. It's like, oh, this is a new experience. It was kind of gimmicky, and it was a good marketing stunt. But it turns out supporting those kinds of things on your platform from now until the end of time, a little tricky.
I must have deleted the other story.
I appreciate it as like an artistic endeavor.
But they fired all of the. We covered that last week, where
Yeah.
they fired everybody.
The game
Yeah.
studio people,
And
yeah.
they're going to let AI make the games. So this was a follow-up on that.
Probably one of the system administrators was like, hey, Randy normally is the one that manages all this, but you fired him. And like, how do I troubleshoot this? They're like, I'll just delete those. It doesn't matter.
People are still watching them, though. It's like, no.
I'll just delete it. It's fine.
And know that you're never going to have it on DVD either.
We're clearly coming to the end, or at least perhaps an armistice of the streaming wars, because everybody has stopped competing and now just started fleecing their customers.
Max is getting ready for its own password sharing crackdown. So if you watch HBO Max, you're going to get quote unquote very soft messaging about either switching to a paid account or a higher priced account that supports sharing.
I just finished Succession, and I was reading like interviews with some of the cast, and someone was like, "Oh, did you watch the finale to one of them?" They're like, "Oh, I tried, but I couldn't get into my Max account." I was like, I don't know if that's shade at HBO or if that's like.
Yeah, I finally got the pop up on. I got the pop up on Netflix, And it was like, nope, it's time to end this. Because it was like, we think you're using this in more than one location. I wasn't. I just have a lot of IP addresses. And so I was like, you know what? Delete. Don't care.
Well, streaming is the future, right? Everything has to be streamed. You must not own anything. But time after time, we like to point out the caveats that you have to watch out for, because streaming games is not the same as owning them or even licensing them. And I don't know, this was well hidden. Did you pick out the barb?
Yeah. Welcome to GeForce Now Performance. Priority members get instant upgrade. Also, you're being limited to 100 hours a month.
Now that's like 3 hours a day. That's a lot of gaming.
But the whole reason I want GeForce Now is because I'm a shut-in.
Yeah, so...
How am I supposed to know life a game?
They're going to give you some other perks, but that was the big thing in there that they did. So it's like, it's 100 hours a month. A lot of people would go over that.
The thing that I really fear with this is that once, like, even buying but not owning a game on Steam, are they planning on, like, is EA going to do, like, because you already know the answer is yes with somebody as terrible as EA or Ubisoft. It's like, streaming is not a feature. You cannot location shift yourself for this game. So that you can't do Steam in-home streaming. You have to go through our paid service to do that. Like, that is a level of thievery that they will try.
And they'll
probably succeed, yeah.
Probably succeed. And this one, we don't know why they're doing this, but I have to assume that it's in that same vein of like, hey, we'd like to sell you these licenses one more time. Well, not one more, many more, but one more this year.
Sega delisting over 60 classic games from virtual stores, including Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi. That is not the correct way to say fair warning.
It's a pun. They're trying to make it fun, even though it's probably something terrible.
Makes me just want to have an aneurysm.
And Elon Musk, certainly one of the most polarizing men in the world, and certainly at the top of the fame bubble right now. But there is something about him that he claimed in the past that everybody assumed was fake.
There's a joke I'm not going to make.
But it's actually real.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
I had the same thought.
Darkness. Dark Krista. Elon Musk says he's a global top 20 Diablo 4 player, and it's actually true.
Wendell and I just synced up there.
He's just 18 or 19. And he's like one of 4 Americans or something, but it's true. It's actually true.
The person who ever wrote this was very like quick to defend, like, he probably didn't buy all the upgrades. And I was like, I mean, why wouldn't he though? He is mega rich.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if somebody's gonna buy all that garbage,
he's probably a whale.
it should be Elon Musk.
Yeah.
As someone that spent a lot of time with Diablo 2, Diablo 3 was so disappointing that Diablo 4 was just...
Now, apparently, Mr. Musk has been a little busy this week because there was an update that the story he's dropped to 22.
Oh, yeah.
Remember though, he's running all those companies.
He's just going to have Randy do it for him.
And soon to be government agencies on top of all that. He's a busy man.
I almost don't think he runs those companies day to day.
And this is, nothing really new here, but it is just a reminder that more and more all of your data is consolidated and it's becoming more and more searchable.
They made a public Rolodex of our faces. Here's how I tried to get out. They actually did seem like they succeeded. Technically you can get out for free, but they tried the service. It's $15. It's called PIM Eyes. And this is exactly the sort of Black Mirror dystopia thing that we're always talking about, but it's now actually a service. It's like, hey, I saw this face. Who was this person? $15, and they'll tell you.
The best part is the author there. They were like, I was terrified to see my living room. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I joined a Zoom call on like a public meeting at some point. And now my living room is forever artificial intelligence searchable.
That's why I don't like to turn a camera on
Oh yeah.
for meetings.
No camera crew. And moving into the security, well, that was security, but moving into the ransomware and so forth, this was a fun one. I guess this is just a troll, but they do seem to actually have the data.
Schneider Electric ransomware crew demands $125,000, but paid in baguettes.
Like fresh ones or just like all at once and then they go bad?
Yeah.
The register asked for clarification. They said, is this some type of new cryptocurrency that we don't understand? Or do you literally mean baguettes, American dollars? And the ransomware people had not responded.
Where would you deliver them to? That's just going to be a big mess. First time it rains. And the new Call of Duty has come out, and of course people are cheating because that's what people do online. And not only do they cheat, they don't just enjoy winning at the game, clearly. They just enjoy being agents of chaos.
TechCrunch's headline is Hacker says that they banned thousands of Call of Duty gamers by abusing an anti-cheat flaw. So the Call of Duty game company said, no, we banned a few thousand players legitimately, accidentally. And the hacker says, no, it was a lot more than that because they didn't understand how the hack was happening. And it would make the client execute invalid code, so they thought people were cheating that weren't, and we just liked that level of chaos.
Oh, it was much worse than that. There was no code being executed. They're monitoring every text string that moves through, including instant messages. So he figured out, was it like mouse fire or something? The cheat is every time your crosshair rolls over a player, it pulls the trigger automatically. So you don't have to time it, right? You just have to just weave around wildly and it'll shoot them. So the name of that thing, whatever it was, triggered something.
Yeah.
He figured out when he was playing against somebody, he could instant message them that word and they would instantly disappear. And so he would just go, and then he built a bot to go online, join a server, message a bunch of people randomly, and then leave. And so he was just banning people.
Thousands.
What a monster.
I mean, I kind of love it, though. It is very...
And he also figured out that every week they would add new strings to the list. So it became a fun game for him to try to figure out what was being added.
I haven't checked to see if my GTA 5 account still works because the week I happened to be testing, like benchmarking it the week that they were adding the anti-cheat to it, I guess. And it wasn't fully operational because it still worked in Linux. And it was just like, you've been banned. And I was like, did I join the wrong server? And I never went back to see if they unbanned me.
All those ill-gotten gains from hackers in the early days of the game finally caught up.
I only had like $100 million in there. I mean,
Only. Probably not the highest amount.
That's like $20 of game currency.
That's one shark card.
yeah.
And finally, here's some bad news for everybody who decided to try to make their voice heard. That is all public information, and it is very public. It always has been. But again, everything is now more searchable than it used to be.
Voted in America, this site has doxed you. Yeah, it's got your address and your political affiliation, literally everything. Woo.
I remember some people were threatening, hey, you better vote because we're going to know whether you did or not, which this will tell you.
Oh.
So they could harass you for not voting. They can't tell how you voted yet. But
Yeah, give it time.
The algorithm guesses you voted this way. Although they seem to not be very good at that with increasing, imprecision.
That was a short one.
It was a short one. There's nothing else to say except store.level1text.com.
These fine mugs.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have more stuff to talk about next week that's not avoiding all of the other stuff.
We still got a whole nonsense section to do.
Because CES is coming up. We've got that to look forward to. And you've got your gaming CPU for Christmas. You can go build your Christmas rigs now.
With all that extra money you got laying around after you were laid off.
After you were laid off, yeah.
Anyway, on that happy note, bye!